There are two ways that a musician can approach making production music for what we call sync placements on TV shows or movies. The first way is by just picking up an instrument and playing whatever random things come to your head and then creating a song out of these random bursts of whimsy or just following whatever random paths happen to come into your head as you are in the moment. The other way that you can approach making music is by having predefined targets and aiming your music directly at those targets. And by targets, I mean knowing which shows might be a good fit for your music and knowing what genre you are making, what moods your music needs to be in, all the way down to the BPM and the instrumentation of your music. Now, one of these ways is going to lend itself to much bigger chances of success than the other. Can you guess which one? Hello, rock stars, Matt Vanderbo here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about the importance of having clear and predefined targets before you start writing music, rather than just going down whatever mental paths you take as you're holding an instrument creating music. Now, in my 16 years of being in this profession, I've pretty much seen it all at this point. And one thing that I often refer to as a rookie mistake, although this is not just a rookie mistake, this could be a mistake made by veterans who have been doing this for years but just haven't seen the level of success that they want, is that people sit down and they just make music that sounds good to them. And then they play it for their friends and family, and their friends and family say, hey, that sounds good to me too, only to find out that the music industry in the sync world has no need for it. And one thing that I often have happen to me is that composers reach out to me on email or they find me on music forums, oftentimes the taxi music forums, or they'll find me at conferences and catch me in the halls or sit down for a one-on-one mentoring session, and they will play a piece of music that just leaves me scratching my head. And not because the quality of the music is bad or that the songwriting or composition is inherently bad. I mean, it's probably fairly good, but it is just unusable for TV. And I scratch my head because I'm listening to it and I'm like, what in the world am I listening to? I mean, it sounds good. The sonics are there. It's well mixed, well mastered. But what could this possibly be used for? And one of the first questions I ask people when I find these types of songs is I ask the composer or the songwriter, what genre of music is this? And I kid you not, 9 times out of 10, the composer or songwriter will say, well, I don't really know, but I was hoping you would tell me. And let me just tell you guys that it is not the listener's job to categorize your music. That is your job, and you need to have all those categories figured out before you even start writing the track. Having those predefined targets in mind, from genre to moods to BPM to instrumentation, will help you stay on track so that when you fire your arrow, you're hitting a bullseye rather than just holding a bunch of wet spaghetti noodles and chucking them against a wall hoping that something sticks. Now, you might be saying, well, if we start with all these predefined parameters, doesn't that just essentially make us little widget producers rather than actual composers who breathe their heart and soul into things? Oh gosh, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will tell you that if you start with the predefined parameters, you will be a richer composer and make more money than the people that just follow their heart and create whatever happens to come out of their head at the time. Because those tracks don't typically find homes and they don't typically get put in TV shows. Whereas the widgets that we make, yes, it might seem robotic when we do them, they are useful, and you need your music to be useful and easy to categorize so that a music library will sign it and then can deliver it to a TV show in a way that is easy for the editors to find and throw into their TV show. Okay, it's just a strategy game more than a music game. And I'm really sorry if that takes the heart and soul out of the music aspect of our business, but that's just the way it is. And if you want to make the music that fills your heart and soul with all the serotonin and whatever, then go ahead and make that. Just understand that the likelihood of it getting signed, and furthermore, the likelihood of it ever getting placed in a show, is fairly minimal compared to people like me who are just robots cranking out predefined, usable music. Now, why is it a bad idea just to sit down and start writing whatever comes to you? Well, it's because you probably are not going to know what genre of music you are making. And that is a telltale giveaway to me that someone did not think about music properly when they come to me not knowing what genre their music is. So without having these targets, you are going to have incredibly blurry genre definitions, if you have any genre definitions at all, and you might not be able to even figure out what moods your track is. Whereas if you know those things before you even start to write a track, then all of your decision making about instrumentation and chord structures and note choice and tempo, those decisions are already made for you based on the choices you made before you even played a note. And so it really steers your boat in the right direction so that you're just not off in some dinghy out in the Pacific Ocean, just floating somewhere, hoping that you find land at some point. So in order to stand a better chance of success, you really need to write with targets in mind before you ever even sit down in your chair or pick up your guitar or touch the piano or whatever. So let me give you an analogy that will hopefully help this sink in a little bit better, because I know sometimes when you tell a musician that they need to take the heart and soul out of their craft, that can really rattle some tail feathers and raise some hackles. So let me give you another perspective from a completely different craft. Okay, so let's take the act of cooking. I'm going to assume right now that not many people watching my channel are actual chefs with training and all that, all the cooking knowledge. So if you guys are like me, you can throw stuff in the microwave and you can toss a frozen pizza in the oven, but that's about where it stops. So when I want to make things, I turn to cookbooks or recipes that I find off of the internet. And when I do that, I typically know exactly what I want to make, and I find a recipe that it looks like I have all of the ingredients for that will accomplish the task of creating what I want to create for dinner. And then I just follow the recipe one step at a time. I add this, I add this, I add this, I add this, I add this. And if I follow instructions completely to a T, then I am probably going to have the product that I set out to create, which will lead to a great dinner and a happy stomach. But what I don't do is just go into the pantry willy-nilly and start tossing ingredients into a pot. Like take some cinnamon and some flour and some spaghetti noodles and some beef broth and I don't know what else, some salt and some cereal, and just pour it all into a pot. Stick it on the stove and hope I make something great. Because I think we all know that that type of method when it comes to cooking will lead to atrocious results that neither you nor your family will want to eat. Okay, now take that analogy and now apply it to music. The way that we create something that is digestible and tasty to an editor is by having the predefined parameters of ingredients and genre and everything. You know what you need to make, so you go through and you make it, rather than just hoping for the best with whatever you happen to throw into a pot. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, you guys. And now we're going to finish this video with another joke from the Dad Joke 3000.
Why did the teddy bear skip dessert? He was stuffed.
Whoo, okay, well, they're not all gonna be winners. All right, rock stars, we'll catch y'all later. Toodles.